Remember when you got your first smartphone? It felt like the whole world opened up to you. The landscape of opportunity unfurled beyond the horizon. It wasn't just a phone, it was your library, your map, your media player, your calendar, your calculator, your alarm, your journal, your bank, your everything. It's a feeling of limitless power. But there's a story about what happens when one small thing holds too much power. It's the story of Smeagol from The Lord of the Rings, who stumbled upon a magical ring and became obsessed by its capability. We know how the story ends. Smeagol became warped by the ring's power. His tool became his precious, and in the process, he became Gollum. My question to you isn't whether the story applies, but where you are in it. Are you Smeagol, innocent and amazed, or are you Gollum, torn by the pull of the ring, unable to function without it? One phone to rule them all, one phone to find them, one phone to bring them all, and in the darkness, bind them. This is the tension of a device that does everything. It's a massive opportunity. There's so much capability our phones have, but that comes with massive perils. When you use it for everything, there's countless reasons to pick it up, to open it up, to look at it. And the more you pick it up, the more that habit gets ingrained in you. The more you go reaching for that phone. And the more you use it, the more your dopamine gets saturated in your brain. And the more your dopamine gets saturated, well, it's just not a good thing. There's a video I'll link in the description called No Thoughts, No Problem. There's an app for that by Ashley Embers. She gives a great overview of the effects that this kind of dopamine saturation has to us. It affects our memory, our attention, our emotional regulation, and our decision making, among many other things. It's a key chemical in our brain, and when we mess with it, it messes with a lot of areas that we don't really think about, and it kind of creeps up on us. The majority of her video is on that, a sober reminder of what this technology does to us. But at the end, she introduces some real tactics, and one of those put a word to something that I've been doing that I didn't know there was a word for, and that's decentralization. So the principle of decentralization is just kind of what it sounds like. You take functions that were central, i.e. with your phone, and you distribute them. You move them to other things. That can be other devices, whether it's laptops, desktops, or dedicated devices like Kindles, smartwatches, things like that. But it can also be analog, journals, paper lists, books, vinyl records, etc. You got to think of these devices like tools to be used by us and not against us. And I think for some of us, the phone is being used against us, and we're not taking full advantage of its capabilities. And decentralizing functionality from your phone is kind of a two-pronged attack. It affects the engagement that you have with the device, as well as reducing the amount of situations you use it. And this is a potent combination. It affects your engagement because when you start to use other things, it's not as engaging. If you just are using your laptop for social media, those web versions suck. Most people use the mobile versions of these applications, so not as much time and attention is placed on the browser version. And that means it's less engaging, it's not as infinite scrolly, it doesn't take up the full screen. If you're looking at it in a browser, you can still have alternate tabs. And then it affects your situation because every function we remove reduces the situations we need the phone. So we're not reaching for it as much. And this creates space to kind of cut it out in complete areas of our life, which is really the goal, is not to stop cold turkey, but to find areas in our life that we're using it a lot and cut that out, remove it. And this will rewire the habit slowly so you're not constantly reaching for your phone. So my journey with decentralization was pretty slow and steady. So the outcome that I wanted and why I started this was I wanted, when I was home, to not use my phone at all. That was kind of my goal. But I knew there were a lot of steps in the way to get there. So it felt like it was impossible. but I just went bit by bit, one thing at a time, one function at a time. And I tackled my alarm clock first. So like many of you, I used my phone as my alarm clock. When I bought a physical alarm clock, this allowed me to remove the phone from my bedroom, which cut down on an hour or two of scrolling every day. That was a huge change and a huge benefit for me. Another thing I did on my phone was habit tracking. So I had to buy a physical journal and write down a grid and all my habits and everything. And that's been great. It's actually more effective when I'm writing it down than it was tracking it on the phone. I also used it for notes. I still do, but I have a little notebook now that I take with me when I'm meeting people or doing something in person, and I write my notes in there rather than on my phone. Because I always tend to explain to someone, I'm listening to you, I'm just making a note about what I said. But when I'm writing it down on a piece of paper, it has a totally different feel. I don't have to couch my behavior, that I'm not ignoring you. And reading was another big one. I had to dig out the old Kindle Paperwhite. It was completely no battery, so I had to charge that up. But now that's the device that's sitting on my bedside table, and that's what I use to read on. Or physical books. I have a ton of physical books, and I just read those. And actually, I find I enjoy reading physical books much more than reading on my phone. These kind of changes, these analog changes, allow me to move some things over to my laptop. So it's not all digital to analog; it can be digital to digital. So I shifted all my social apps to my laptop. This meant I just blocked them on my mobile device, and they're still blocked today, and I started to use them on my laptop. And for me, it was really just two, Facebook and Reddit. That was it. And I was allowed to do this because another thing I used my phone for was messaging. Well, I realized I could go to messages.com and get my Android messages on my laptop, and I could go to messenger.com and get my Facebook messages. So once I figured out those two things and I could block other URLs, that meant I could use my laptop for many of the things I used my phone for. And this came with an added benefit and additional surprise, is that I was way more productive when I was using my laptop. It was almost like back in the olden days when I'd be using my computer. I found you can't really do anything. I mean, you can do everything on your phone, but you can't really do anything. You can't really dive into anything and make anything meaningful. And so I was finding that I was spending a lot more time on a device, but doing productive things. And it's not all bad to consume distractions. It's not a bad thing. But for me, I just found, it just felt like more meaningful use of a device. And this allowed me to do the first thing. I remember my goal was to stop using my phone at home. So now what I could do, because I pretty much used my laptop for almost everything, I was able to put my phone upstairs on the charger or in its spot and just leave it there while I was at home. And this I was able to do pretty much right after switching to my laptop. So that was a big deal. So where does the desktop come in? You've watched this video. The title of the video is Why I Traded My Phone for a Desktop. Well, this is another device that I had. And I've been writing on this device, so I don't write on my phone. That would be, frankly, impossible. I don't even know how I do it. But that's it. I only was using it for writing in the mornings. And there was a switch that I had to make from my laptop to my desktop that was really prompted by my 7-year-old daughter. She was feeling pretty anxious the week before she went back to school. She's in 2nd grade now. And she kind of had a panic that we'd never really seen. We'd never really seen her this emotional. And she got pretty tough on me. She said, "Dad, you're posting on YouTube about stopping using your phone, but you're still on your laptop all the time." I cut deep. And, to be fair to myself, I had cut down a lot of my device usage. But to be fair to her, yes, there were still times when I was at home where I was still going on my laptop. So I was able to, after processing that for a day and just, really internalizing what she was getting at there, I made a promise to her that when she was at home after school, I would not be on my phone, my laptop, or any other device. I would just be there with them. It's only a couple hours after they get home, but I felt like that was a good promise to make going into the school year. Because I think she was feeling like she was going back to school and she wasn't going to get to spend any more time with me. And that was really concerning to her. And this actually, I found, wasn't that big of a shift. Because I had replaced everything with my laptop, I wasn't using my phone anymore. So now there was just a couple of things that I wouldn't use. Like the biggest one would be YouTube, watching YouTube videos. That was mostly what I was doing and what she was challenging me on. And so now I find if I don't have access to my phone or my laptop when I'm at home, well, I'm not going to go up to my office and look at YouTube videos on my desktop. And I can't bring my desktop downstairs. So it's a huge benefit to sequester that in an area that adds enough friction that you're just never going to do it. You might think of it, oh, I want to watch a YouTube video, but you won't. And fast forward, a month or two, I don't get the pull at all. I find myself using YouTube way less than when I had my laptop all around the house. So this allowed me to then, along with the phone, put my laptop upstairs. So now when I'm home and the kids are home, I try to put my laptop and my phone upstairs, and there they sit. And I'm only allowed to use the desktop, or I give myself permission to use the desktop after the kids go to bed. It sounds great, it sounds perfect, but we're not without issues here. There's a couple things that are remaining that I still haven't figured out. First one is Authenticator app. My phone is my Authenticator app for many different things. And so occasionally I'm finding myself downstairs on my laptop and I have to do something with the Authenticator, and it drives me nuts because now I have to run upstairs and grab my phone. A lot of times I bring my phone back downstairs and there it is. Now it's there. And so now I can go on it. And I do find myself going on it when it's there. This has been lessened now that I cut my laptop out. So my desktop is near my phone and my laptop. So my Authenticator is right there. But it's still an issue where I'm tied to my phone. Another thing is the camera. I have other cameras, digital cameras, but I use my phone. The best camera you have is the one that is in your pocket, right? And the one you have on you. And that's the beauty of a phone. It can take such great photos these days and videos. I'm recording this on a phone right now. So that's another use that I haven't been able to cut. I plan to swap out my phone here for a camera, so that'll reduce its use here. But taking pictures of when out with my kids and all that, that's something I still need to use it for. But I find myself just using it for that. Or honestly, because I'm not pulled to it, I don't take photos much at all. This can be a positive thing because I'm more present in the moment, but also it's a little negative because I'm not capturing some of these moments that I do really enjoy looking back on. So that is a downside. I'm trying to figure out how to, get a better habit about bringing the physical digital camera with separate to the phone and kind of using that more, being more intentional about the photos. And then also just YouTube in general is kind of still pervasive among my devices. Not so much on the desktop because I kind of have a mental mode where I'm either writing or working when I'm on my desktop, but it's still, I still use it when I'm, plugging into my car or doing a task and listening to a video or something. So that's an area that I'm still using my phone for. So what can you do? If you want to decentralize your phone, what can you do? What I would challenge you to do is go through all your apps. It's time. Go through every one of your apps one by one. Write them down, write what you use them for. If you don't use them, delete the app. If you're not sure, delete the app. If you do have a legitimate use, ask yourself, can you replace it? And what would you replace it with? You don't have to replace it yet, but just kind of do that. Once you've gone through all your apps and all your use cases, deleted what you're not using, and you have some functional replacements, try one at a time. Don't try a bunch. It's not going to work. You're going to fail. Try one at a time, see how it goes. If that ends up working well for you, go back to the list, try another one, then delete the app or change how you're using the app. And just keep doing this until you're in a better place, until you've decentralized the functionality from your phone and you're using it for only what you feel comfortable with. And that might be different for you than it is for me. You might like reading on your phone. I don't like reading on my phone. That's fine. Use it for reading. It doesn't matter. The point is you want to kind of reduce the necessariness of this phone. You want to lower the amount of functionality you're using it for. You got to fight the system that is present in all these apps and platforms by changing your own systems in reaction to that and working with it and working through it. But decentralization of that functionality is really key to changing your behavior with your smartphone. So ultimately, the goal is not to throw the ring into Mount Doom. It's to reforge it back into a tool for you to use, not one used against you. These days, I no longer feel like Gollum. I no longer feel like Smeagol. I feel just like myself. I'm not thinking about my phone. I'm not reaching into my pocket to pick it up. I'm not reaching for it and it's not there. And you can get there too. It just takes a single function to find a new home for it and just find another one after that and just keep the cycle going until you're at a place where you feel really comfortable with that smartphone. That's all I have for today. I'd love it if you'd subscribe. If you know of anyone dealing with smartphone problems or habit change in general, let them know that I'm here and I'm committed to helping them. That's all I have for today. I appreciate you.